That is tough, dude. All right. So, another dunk day. I'm bringing back these intros because I've recently realigned my goals with this whole dunk training thing, and I thought it was only fitting that I restart. Well, not really restart, but like restart and bring back this sort of update visual diary thing I used to do, because I'm looking to increase, change, improve some stuff on my social media, and YouTube is still one of my big favorites to post on. So yeah, trying to make these videos feel a bit whole again. I think it was fun for a time when I was doing my intros and my outros, but I think for me personally, it lacked a bit of substance to keep doing it. So I sort of fell out of love with it, and then I would just keep the B-roll footage in, and then eventually it just became, warm-ups, and then jump footage, and then eventually it just became jump footage. But it didn't sit well with me for a while because, again, it wasn't in line with the reason why I love posting. And part of the reason why I love to post is, 1, to document, 2, to showcase to others, but also 3 is I love watching my clips back. I love watching my videos back. I love hearing, not to sound a bit like egotistical or anything, but I love hearing myself talk about stuff because the power of hindsight, I hope I'm using the correct one there. Thinking back, yeah. So hindsight, seeing where I was mentally at a certain point in my training career, my journey, and yeah. So I've decided to restart it with my dunk training. It's been going well. Jumping's been going well. The biggest difference is probably from around the time I stopped recording my intros and outros, where, like I said, they stopped lacking substance for me to continue the intro outro. One of the main things that changed was training became very routine. So it was what it was, like I would train, I would post, but I didn't really know what to talk about, and that's a big thing for me. I honestly really hate when there's nothing to talk about, and it's understandable if you're doing it as a practice to get yourself to talk more, but for the sake of yapping to a cat, it's not my thing. See, I like to talk about something that means something to me, because eventually, or hopefully, whoever listens to it might feel the same way about that. So yeah, the reason why I decided to bring it back, I've recently realigned myself with why I train and what I'm training to. Originally it was, I was training to obviously get my first dunk. A part of that became, I was working out so much, I was still jumping, but I wasn't necessarily taking care of my body. I was jumping a lot when I first started. I was training a lot, but the whole maintaining my body wasn't really a priority, and I suffered for the most of it because around 2024 I was just hammering my body. I would get knee pain and I would maintain myself through that week, then I would jump, then I would have knee pain again, but it's because I wasn't maintaining that jump day. So it was just a constant, I'd go from 0 to 1, then back to 0, then to 1, then to 0 again, and then it felt like I was going to -1. Then I wasn't getting back to 1. I'd go from -1 to 0, and then that became the baseline. So yeah, 2024 was a lot of learning. 2025 was, I realized the importance of how I train. So then I started to fix up my sleep. Then I started to fix up, what I would do the day before, and then what I would do the day off. So I was improving all of those things. I noticed a big change, but the biggest thing was my weight was massive issue. So from around the time I started 110, I had already lost about 5 kilos come 2025. I was focusing on that, but one of my biggest, I think, weaknesses, or maybe not even weakness, it was more one of the things that were bothering me was, you know, I was fortunate enough to be on JumpX to get the training that I did, but what I needed personally, and what I realized over the year or two that I had been on JumpX, was I needed someone who was going to be like, right beside me, or in the room with me, or watching my sessions all the time. So I made the tough decision to leave JumpX, and I moved on to a one-on-one coach who actually lives like quite close to me, and yeah, so we kick-started from the end of 2025. First things we locked in was this diet plan that I had going on. So around this time I had figured out how to calorie deficit properly, so I didn't need the coach for that, but I needed the coach for immediate feedback, immediate response to hey, I'm feeling this type of way today, what should I do? I need your help tweaking this, what do I do? And I could get those responses, I could get video feedback immediately, and that was helping me a lot, because with lifting, pulling mad numbers is awesome, pushing mad numbers is awesome, but I'm a big technique freak. Like, I prefer to know how to do something properly and well enough that's the point of my training. Like, I want to be really good at those lifts. Like, I want to be technically sound. So that's a big plus for me. And so with one-on-one training, I was able to jump in on that a lot more. Yeah, and then 2025, I really locked in the sleep schedule. I was sleeping 7-8 hours again, personal decision to make. My calorie deficit was going really well. It was just the one-on-one coaching aspect that I really wanted, and I got. And since then, I've been jumping out the gym, I've been jumping with the boys. They really pushed me to try harder, work harder, maintain a good level of I think even competitiveness. Like, they could, like, Dre and Sab can dunk already, but having two guys who do what they do well, pushing you along the way as someone who can't do it yet, it goes a tremendous way. And it's like one of those things, it's I heard it, I think it was a Pharrell line. He was talking in an interview. It's it was used as an analogy. It's like, in order to run faster, you have to run with people faster than you, and that applies to whatever hobby you're doing, whatever job you work at, wherever you are in your life. If you're around negative people, you're probably going to be a lot more negative than positive, regardless of how positive you are. If you're around people who are hopeful, truthful, and honest, you would probably be a lot more like that than a liar, unless you don't really know yourself, which is then that's fair. But in my case, hanging around people who can dunk, and people who can dunk well, and are fit, which is the opposite of everything that I was at the time. Wasn't fit, I wasn't jumping well, and I couldn't dunk. So hanging out with those, well, originally it was, I would hang out with Cabe, and Cabe introduced me to Dre, then Cabe also introduced me to Sabri, and then Cabe doesn't jump with us anymore, but he continues to root for us all the time. And yeah, now it's the crew is Dre, Sabri, and myself. And there are days like I find myself that just weighs on you. Like, how many years I've been doing this, like, I'm not where I want to be. But having those guys to just talk to you, like, they sometimes talk me through stuff where it's like, yeah, you're not where you want to be, but you're better than you were yesterday, you're better than you were last week, you're better than you were last month, you are better than you were last year. So yeah, I've really taken that with pride with where I am right now, and reminding myself that you can do so much, but you have to be honest with what you're doing. And for me to look back on 2 years and be like, hey, look, I'm not where I want to be, that can be held to, yes, time and progress, but also how much time have I been putting in and how much progress have I been honestly making on myself and those habits. And, you know, like I said before, maintaining things. So once you put it in perspective like that and you can be honest with yourself, you got your answer, man. And, you know, that's where, you know, food was a big thing, sleep was a big thing, my schedule was a big thing. Yeah, it's been a long time since I had a chat with myself like this, so it's nice to be back here in this spot. But yes, I think I keep asking or saying what I'm talking about, and I move in a tangent. But the thing that's changed as of recently, which has revamped this sort of fire, like this desire to get somewhere, be something. I was having a moment where I was going through all this stuff, where I was thinking about the last 2 years, you know, where I'm at, where I think I should be. And I thought, you know, what is it that I want out of dunking? And I always said, you know, I want to dunk for as long as possible. Like, that's the thing. I want to be that guy who can do this high level activity up until, you know, the days are done. But one thing I have always said to a lot of people is, when it comes to goals, a goal will only stick if it's significant and holds, right? And essentially, the way I was feeling was, you know, my goal wasn't sticking. Like, it wasn't, yeah, I want to dunk for as long as possible, but that wasn't the main thing driving me towards things outside of discipline, outside of motivation. Like, I feel like a really good goal has to be something that makes you feel like you need it straight away. Like, if you don't get this, it's over. And that got me thinking about manifesting, and it got me thinking about dreams, goals, hopes, hopes and dreams, goals. Like, I don't think much about goals. I think more about my hopes and dreams, you know, what I aspire to be, what I aspire to do. And I'm not much for manifesting and talking about all that stuff. I like vision boards. I like the idea of vision boards, that you put up the stuff. I'm not afraid to talk about what I want. I don't fear the fact that, you know, when you tell people and they wish the worst upon you, it's like, well, you know, I think I'm too positive to worry about what people are going to say to me, the ones that are outside of my circle, you know. And so I was thinking about all that, and I thought about the last time I manifested something, and I thought about when I was in high school, and it was coming to our senior years. You know, I had never played any sport, I had never participated in any sort of club or activity, and I thought, you know, the year's coming to an end, but like, I feel like I've got no mark in this school. And I said to myself, like, man, I gotta get in this yearbook. I gotta get in this school yearbook. Apart from the class photo, I gotta be in something else, bro. And yeah, I said, look, I gotta get in this yearbook. And every day I talk to my mates, I talk to, you know, my sister, my family. It's like, you know, I gotta make it into this yearbook. I don't know how, but I gotta make it into this yearbook. And I kept talking about it. I was playing basketball at the time, and I thought, stuff it, bro. I gotta make it onto the basketball team. Like, I gotta get in this yearbook, and that's the only thing that I'm doing right now. I'm playing ball. I gotta get into this yearbook, and then I'll play basketball. And then the guys I was hooping with were already in the team, and you know, I was friends with everyone. Like, I was cool. Like, you know, I had my mates, but I was cool with everyone. And these guys have been playing in the school team since junior years, and I had never played, so there was no real hope in the idea that, well, like, no one knows me. Like, the teachers don't know me, the coaching group doesn't know me. But, you know, I would always say it, like, you know, maybe, you know, with a childlike mentality where it's like, you know, I want this, I want to do this, and you don't think about no, or maybe I can't do it as a possibility. You know, I spoke to the guys, and then they started like cheering me on for it and started pushing me. They're like, you should. You're like, we'll do good with you. Like we'll look forward to playing with you. And so that idea kept floating around. And then as the trials were approaching for a basketball team, this is my final year, man. I worked my ass off. I tried out, and there's just all this chatter just about you being on this team, and that's all together with the fact that these guys know me. They know what I'm about. I wasn't pretending to be someone else. I was just being me, and I was already friends with everyone, and I was already honest with everyone. Everyone knew my energy, and words were going around, names were being put in ears, and the coach saw me and decided to give me a chance, and I got on the team and I made it in the yearbook. That's one of the greatest things that when I think about school, I'm so happy I made it into the yearbook, because that was the one thing I wanted. And you think about junior years, you look at photos and you think about, that's so cool, and to be in the yearbook now, it's I graduated in 2017, it's 2026 now. It's still one of the coolest things. And yeah, that was probably the first and only thing I've ever manifested like that. And so, in that thought, where I was like, manifest popped in my head, and I thought, when was the last time I manifested something? And then I went through that whole track of thought like that, and then I remembered, man, like, the idea of representing your country is not that foreign to me as I thought about it, because I know people from my friends' circles or my family circles where they've gone through powerlifting comps, they've gone to the national level, and then they've gone international to rep Australia. And I probably know 3 people like that, and I've seen more, just with social media. But the ones that are like in my proximity is the coolest thing, right? So like, this is my classmate from school. He started up a coaching program, so we followed each other since then. He went powerlifting, represented Australia. Wow. I know a Fijian girl from the gym. She went powerlifting and went to Europe to represent Australia. Wow. And I know another one, it's my partner's sister's friend, went to Australia. Wow. And then my sister does hip hop dance. She's represented Australia as well. When I was maybe like 18 or 19, we went to Phoenix, Arizona for her dance comp, and I was there as her like guardian. And it's like, that's that level of, and then that's for dancers, you become an international competitor. So the idea of representing the country in any sort of facet is not foreign as I thought, not as foreign as I thought it was, or impossible as I thought it was, at initial thought. So just with that idea alone, I was like, I think I know what my goal is, bro. Like, the one thing that immediately picked me up, and I think this is it. I think this is what I really, really want. And I gotta stop saying I think, man. I decided in that moment, the one thing I want from this dunking, like my ultimate goal, my ultimate dream from dunking, is to represent Australia. And I think, actually, I think the way to do that is to get to FIBA, participate in a dunk contest the way the Aussie star, the Aussie GOAT, Brody Stevens, and again, proximity. Brody Stevens is, from Australia. We follow each other. We do have conversation online, and we'll talk about dunk contest. When I filmed the vlog for the Summer Jam comp, and right at the end I did a review on what I thought about the competition, Brody watched it to the end and he left a comment on my video talking about it, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And it's just, you know, you shouldn't put people on a pedestal, but regardless of the fact, moments like that where it's like, you know, this guy's just a normal dude like me, and you know, we talk about this and we can talk about that. And you know, I did meet him briefly. I shook his hand, you know, at Summer Jam. Like, that was still super cool to me. And so, you know, when I had that thought, I messaged Brody, because it was a morning. I wasn't at work. I'd gone to the gym, and I was just thinking about it. And so I went to the gym and I messaged Brody straight away. I said, look, my ultimate goal is this. I need to know, how do I get there? How do I qualify it like you do? And you know, he gave me some words of advice. You know, essentially make yourself known, and you got to get an invite. So, you know, that's that. And yeah, with everything I'm doing now, my ultimate goal is, yes, make the FIBA and represent Australia. But that now carries that burning ambition to dunk, to lose the weight, to expand my dunk repertoire, compete in dunk contests, you know? Before it was like, you know, it was more passive. But now it's like, I need to do it. Like, I have to. I have to lose this weight because I have to dunk. And I have to dunk because I have to compete. And I have to compete because I have to go to FIBA, you know? And that's as real as it gets, man. That's as real as it gets. Yeah. So yeah, with my Instagram, with my TikTok, I'm gonna start doing, you know, day one of, you know, maybe day one of road to dunk, you know, and couple that with, you know, day one of getting to 99 kilograms body weight, you know. And then, you know, once I get the dunk, like, this goes into now, I'm planning a roadmap for what I'm trying to do. Because yes, I'm on FIBA, but you know, my business teacher always said it in school: failing to plan is planning to fail. And I couldn't plan for the dunk because planning for the dunk meant I needed something to push me for, okay, why is it important to me? Like, you can't just make a plan for the sake of making a plan. There needs to be some intention behind it. I didn't have the intention. I wanted to dunk, yeah, sure, but like, what was the purpose? What was the significance? Yeah, it's fun, but it wasn't enough. Like me, I'm a very deep person. Things have, like, I'm very sentimental. Things can be incredibly meaningful to me. And so, you know, deciding that I wanted to go to FIBA, all right, how am I gonna get there? Because I have to get there. That's that intention I'm talking about. I want to represent Australia. That's my dream. And so, roadmap begins. First thing, I need to lose weight, bro. I need to get my first dunk, bro. So, what are we gonna do? Already got the calorie deficit on lock. I weighed in at my lightest yesterday, 101 kilograms. The lightest I've been since starting this journey. I was 110 when I started. It's working out, man. You know, sleep's been good. Training's getting better. Having this massive goal, having this intention, this drive, this ambition, it puts everything else into perspective. Like the idea that, you know, okay, maybe I'm gonna miss this training session because, you know, I'm like so tired, you know, I don't feel like doing it. It just puts it into perspective that, look, one missed session, you know, there's someone doing the session, they're gonna make it and represent the country. You know, if I miss this, I might be missing. And you know, it's as small as that. But part of doing the work is doing the work even when you don't want to do it. And we all know that. We all know that. Working when you don't want to work is just as important as working when you do. So, the day I want to eat out, you know, like I need a I need KFC, bro. I need some fried chicken, man. I need a burger. Frick, man. I want some wicked wings, man. I want a Whopper Jr., man. I want a margarita pizza, dude. Fuck. Need some chicken wing, you know, like shit like that. Korean barbecue, like. If I miss this meal, man, if I eat one day out, man, it's gonna mess up my meal plan. It's gonna mess up my weight loss, my tracking so far. Like, is it worth it? Like, I thought you wanted to represent Australia, dog. Like, that's what I mean. That's what this shit means to me now. Like, it's that deep. And you know, other part is I need to get my 10K steps. You know, that regular activity to just burning weight. You know. Outside of, you know, the fact that I play so much basketball now, the fact that I go running now with my sister. And yeah, man, now that I've reached this level of, I think, determination, I'm like, it's a no-brainer. I gotta lose weight like, you know, I gotta lose weight like I'm going to FIBA next week. I gotta lose weight like, you know, I'm going to dunk camp next month. Like, that's how much I'm holding myself to it, and it's not even in an unhealthy way. It's, hey man, you know, I'm separating myself. There's me, and then there's the me that needs to pull me along to be like, yo, bro, this is what we have to do. You gonna let me take over? You gonna let me get us through this? That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And I think that's, you know, there's lots of things I've seen, like, this is again tangent, like alter ego shit. There needs to be a part of you that needs to be able to, in your own mind, be like, nah, you need the analogy I heard was, I heard someone say, you need that bouncer in your head. Bouncer, like the guy that stands at the door. You know, the weirdo comes to the door, you can't get in, man. Oh, you know, that's some good thoughts, you know. You can come in, bro. You can come in. You mean well. Look, what are we doing here? What's your purpose for being here? Why are you coming here for? Nah. You know, you're not dressed right. You need to leave. Stuff like that. You need that bouncer to stand at the door of your brain. The part of your brain that knows what your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations are. It needs to be able to be like, you think you can't do it? No. You can't come in here, bro. You get the idea. You get the idea. That's just how it is. So I got that part of me that's like, yeah, man, like, you want to go there, I can help you get there. You gotta listen to me, bro. And yeah, that's the reason I'm bringing this whole YouTube thing back. I'm gonna clean it all up. I'm gonna do the recaps for this, you know. This is my road to dunk. I'm gonna do the same thing for IG. So, you know, today's gonna be day one. Yeah, man. New energy, new drive, new determination, same goal. Actually, new goal, but same goal. But yeah, man, look, whoever watches this, man, I appreciate it. I've always appreciated all the comments I get. You know, the people who comment on my videos, even on my Instagram. You know, people that like my videos, repost my stuff, that welcome the shit I gotta say. And you know, the people that openly tell me that they believe in what I can do, where I'm going, believe in the vision. And you know, the people that say that drives them too. There's nothing better than that in this world. So yeah, that's essentially what I really wanted to say today. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to holding myself accountable this year. Dunk camp is next year, and the way Dre and I spoke about it, we said yes, we gotta go, which means I gotta dunk before next year, which is more than enough, man. More than enough I need. That's enough fire. That's enough fuel. I don't even need dunk camp to fuel me, you know? I got FIBA. So yeah, dunk camp's where I want to go. That's the next step after the dunk. But yeah, just really locking in now. Really dialing it up. You know, how bad do you want this? How much are you going to sacrifice? Because, you know, it's no secret that in order to be great, like, you need to be elite at something. And you got to be elite in your habits, man. But the thing that doesn't get talked about when it comes to being elite, and I'm not talking about it as someone who is elite, I'm talking about it as someone who listens to elites. The thing that makes an elite person elite in what they do is the ability to also sacrifice the short-term happiness, maybe. And what I mean when I say that is anything, or the things that give you instant gratification, you know, that junk food, indulgences, time off outside of the time when you actually need it, like sacrificing bad habits, sacrificing wasting time. And you know, you already know now, I said it how many times, I want to go to FIBA. I need to go to FIBA. I have to go to FIBA. So in order to go to FIBA, what do I have to do? I have to be elite, man. And in order to be elite, I got to sacrifice. What am I going to sacrifice? I'm going to sacrifice those unnecessary meals. I'm going to sacrifice those bad habits. I'm going to sacrifice, you know, letting myself think it's okay to not do things. I've got to sacrifice that part of me that's going to hold me back. It's not going to let me past. I got to sacrifice the part of me that was saying no to having a bounce out my door, you know? Anyways, let's see how the session goes. Looks like we don't have much time again, similar to last week. So just got a message from Dre. But stay tuned.
Minding my business, trying to die of old age. It ain't strange, we arrive with no name given. So vain, John and Alice Coltrane. Kind of love, don't stay, kick push, Luke Bay. Do pray, lose faith, gain heart, the two-faced, same marks. My fate, not yours. All praise, matriarch, all day. Sit alone, couldn't tell the two apart. Giving all a nigga got. Bleeding in a hidden spot, need what a nigga forgot. Gin tonic on the rocks.
I just been jumping for fun, but that's 9 foot now. That's 9 to 9.6 now.
You greedy boy.
Don't talk bad about that. My mate got a